The security checkpoint at Valon Station buzzed with the usual chaos of interstellar travel. Beings from 100 worlds passed through the scanners, their chitinous shells, translucent membranes, and crystalline bodies creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. But when Sarah walked through, every guard's attention snapped toward her, not because of the human woman herself, though her species was still relatively new to the Galactic Council, but because of what walked behind her. 3 massive creatures, each standing nearly 8 feet tall, moved in perfect synchronization with her steps. Their obsidian black exoskeletons gleamed under the station's fluorescent lights, and their 6 legs clicked against the metal floor with mechanical precision. Dozens of eyes, arranged in clusters across their angular heads, tracked everything in their vicinity. Mandibles that could easily crush steel twitched with each breath. Rukal, the station's chief security officer, stepped forward. His forearms crossed over his chest and his scales rippled with the violet hue that signaled concern among his people. He dealt with smugglers, pirates, and war criminals, but this was new. Human. Rukal's voice carried the authority of someone who'd maintained order on this station for 2 decades. You are being followed by 3 Kreshak death hunters. Explain yourself. Sarah stopped, her worn leather jacket and simple cargo pants a stark contrast to the living nightmares behind her. She glanced over her shoulder at the creatures, then back at Rukal with a slight smile that confused him even more. They're not following me, she said calmly. They're guarding me. The crowd around them had formed a wide circle now. Kreshaks were legendary across the galaxy, apex predators from a death world that made even the most hardened warriors nervous. They hunted in packs, showed no mercy, and were considered one of the few species too dangerous to be allowed into civilized space without extensive containment protocols. Yet here stood 3 of them, unrestrained in the middle of a civilian station. That's impossible, Rukal said, his hand moving toward his plasma rifle. Kreshaks cannot be tamed. They follow only the scent of prey until the hunt is complete. Sarah shifted her weight, seemingly unconcerned by the weapon or the rising tension. They're not tamed. They're loyal. There's a difference. Explain. Now. Rukal's translator couldn't quite capture the edge in his voice, but Sarah understood the universal language of a nervous man with a gun. She sighed and pulled out a data pad, tossing it to him. 6 months ago, I was on a survey mission in the Keltar Expanse. My ship crashed on an uncharted world. Turned out to be the Kreshak homeworld, which, by the way, isn't where your charts say it is. Rukal's eyes scanned the data while keeping his peripheral vision on the creatures. The report detailed a crash landing, severe injuries, and a survival situation that should have ended in death. The first week, I was just trying not to die, Sarah continued. Broken leg, internal bleeding, no medical supplies. I found a cave and holed up. That's when she found me. Sarah gestured to the largest of the 3 Kreshaks. I call her Razor. She was injured too, some kind of territorial fight. We both just stayed there, waiting to heal or die. You survived together, Rukal said, his scales shifting to a curious orange. More than that, I realized something your xenobiologists missed. Kreshaks aren't just hunters. They're problem solvers. Intelligent. I started talking to her, didn't matter that she couldn't understand. I shared my food. She brought me water. When I finally could walk, she didn't attack. She followed. One of Rukal's subordinates whispered urgently, Sir, we should evacuate the... Quiet. Rukal held up a hand. Continue, human. Razor brought her pack. These 2. Sarah gestured to the other Kreshaks. I spent 4 months on that world learning their language. Yes, they have one. It's just not audible to most species. I helped them hunt. They protected me from worse things on that planet. When the rescue ship finally found my beacon, I couldn't just leave them. So you brought 3 apex predators into civilized space. Rukal's scales flashed red with anger. Do you have any idea? They saved my life 17 times on that world, Sarah interrupted, her voice hard now. I counted. 17 times they could have eaten me or left me to die. But instead they fought things that would give your nightmares nightmares. One of your people would have abandoned them. Called it practical. Humans don't work like that. Rukal stared at her. In all his years, he'd seen countless species interact, but humans were still unpredictable. They bonded with anything. They named their vehicles. They mourned their robots. They adopted predators and called them family. The regulations... I have a Class 7 exotic companion permit signed by Counselor Threnix herself, Sarah said, pulling out another document. Razor and her pack passed every behavioral assessment. They're registered, chipped, and have better medical records than I do. We've been through 6 stations before this one, and nobody's had a problem once they understood. Rukal examined the paperwork. It was legitimate. Somehow this human had convinced the council to grant unprecedented approval. Why do they guard you? He asked finally. Sarah's expression softened. Because I guarded them first. When they were vulnerable, when Razor was hurt, I could have killed her, taken her eggs as trophies. That's what most species would do. Instead, I sat beside her and shared my food. Kreshaks understand that. They remember it. To them, I'm pack. As if responding to her words, Razor moved forward slightly, positioning herself between Sarah and Rukal. The guard tensed, but the Kreshak made no aggressive moves. Her many eyes focused on him with an intelligence that was unmistakable. She was assessing, deciding, protecting. Rukal slowly lowered his weapon. You're cleared to proceed, he said quietly. But understand if there's any incident. There won't be, Sarah said confidently. They're good people, just different. As Sarah walked past him, her 3 guardians flowing around her like living shadows, Rukal watched with a mixture of respect and bewilderment. Only humans would find a way to befriend the unfriendable. Only humans would risk everything for creatures that logic said should eat them. And somehow, impossibly, it worked. As they disappeared into the crowded station, Rukal's second-in-command approached. Sir, should we have detained her for further questioning? Rukal's scale shifted to a thoughtful blue. No, let them pass. The galaxy is learning what those of us who've dealt with humans already know. They don't just survive hostile worlds. They make friends with them, somewhere in the distance. Sarah's laugh echoed back through the corridor, followed by what could only be described as a Kreshak's chittering approximation of joy. The guard shuddered. Humans are terrifying. Rukal nodded slowly. No, humans are hope. There's a difference.